What's up, Keegan? This is Ammon Garrison. Thanks again for letting me apply for this job on such short notice. I've prepared some breakdown and analysis for what I think could contribute to BYU winning basketball. I think it's a great example of how it can make your job easier and help prepare the staff and players for games and practices this upcoming season. So I hope you see value in this. Thanks again. So my first question that I asked myself when trying to think how I can bring value to BYU is, should it be offensively focused or defensively focused? And to figure out the answer to that, I went to ESPN's BPI rankings as well as some Ken Palm efficiency ratings. And so this is what we find here with BPI. As you can see, BYU is ranked 84th overall. They're 74 in offense and 94 in defense. So this suggests that we should focus on defense. If you look at Ken Palm, we're ranked 58th overall. We're ranked 50th on offense and 70 on defense. So both the BPI and Ken Palm suggest that we should be focusing on defense. So now that we know that we want to focus on BYU's defense, we got to figure out which part of the defense needs some work. Is it defensive rebounding? Is it three-point shots? And that's what we discussed right now. So my first thought with San Francisco having some really good guards and Gonzaga being really talented is, how good are we at defending the three? And so we looked at the stats, and BYU is actually 40th in the country at defending the three at 30.6% when regarding threes. So that doesn't seem to be a problem if our defense is ranked 90th in the country, but we're 40th best at defending the three. And so with our defensive three-point percentage being so good, and with our center being 6'6", and us not being the tallest team in the West Coast Conference, thought maybe it might be defensive rebounding that we're not super good at. But as we can see here, BYU is top 10 in the entire country in defensive rebounding. And so defensive rebounding and three-point defensive percentage do not seem to be problems for BYU. So we're searching for what is causing us to allow as many points as we do. And then I found this. And so this is the stat from the NCAA of the teams that commit the fewest amount of fouls. And so there's 350 teams, or about 350 teams in Division I basketball. And so BYU is ranked for 319th in the country with Arizona. So obviously not very good. And so I also highlighted Memphis and Auburn here, because some people could argue we are getting fouls because we're being aggressive and trying to force turnovers. But as we look here at these next stats, that is true for Memphis and Auburn. They're just outside the top 50 in terms of forcing turnovers. But BYU, we do not force as many turnovers as the fouls we commit. We're actually 311th in the country in terms of forcing turnovers. And we're last in the WCC when it comes to steals. And so right now we're just committing a lot of fouls. And so once we were able to isolate that BYU defense is good at defensive rebounding and we're good at defending the three, and that the main focus should be on those fouls, I wanted to dive deeper and to see where are those fouls occurring, what type of situations is it. And so if you just go on ESPN, you have game logs, play-by-play game logs. On those game logs, you can just hit Control F and it'll say where the foul took place. And so not all of BYU's full games are on YouTube, but of the ones I did see, I was able to see basically where each BYU foul took place. And so a lot of them are happening at the rim, just like someone's driving to the basket or someone's posting up. And so the main catalyst for all of these fouls is a lack of verticality. So their hands are straight up, but they're hacking at the last second. And so I would just have 5 clips I wanted to show. And so the first clip is just going to be Caleb Lohner here. He's going to be, I think they're playing against San Diego, and he'll be straight up, have really good positioning, and then at the last second, he just gives into that temptation to swipe, and he hits down, and he comes right back up after they blow the whistle, and he tries to argue that they didn't hack him. And so let's take a look.
On how closely Nimhard has been guarding him this entire game.
Good job by Lohner of pushing Caltrain away from his comfort zone. Nice job by Lohner.
Making the big guy put it on the deck. A good move. Lohner whistled for his third personal foul.
All right, so the second and third clip that I'm going to show here, they both have the same theme of a guard forcing baseline and a big coming to have help basically, and they aren't vertical and they aren't straight up. And a lot of it has to do with them just getting there late, which could also be a big cause for fouls as well. But what you're about to watch is Alex Barcelo. I think he's going to front the post, Chet Holmgren is going to catch it. He's going to turn baseline. Tiki gets there late. He's not straight up, and Chet Holmgren will get a layup with his left in an and one.
But BYU needs to play better to get the full volume. Holmgren with the left hand and a foul.
So on the back end of this example where someone's going baseline, the help side's a little bit late, it's going to be Julian Strahler. He's going to go baseline on Seneca Knight. I'm not sure if he is supposed to force him baseline or if he just goes baseline. Either way, Atiki gets there late, and since he gets there late, he's not vertical, his positioning's bad, runs into Julian Strahler, 2 free throws, and another 2 makes for Gonzaga.
So skilled, a true 7-footer, and kind of tied up there, so Julian Strahler gets hammered going to the basket.
And so these last 2 clips will be Foose and Atiki each, just getting there late. Positioning's not too good, not vertical, and it will be 2 instances in which they get fouls in the post.
Assistant coach, way back when Jimmer Fredette was a junior, they came in here and got beat 91-34. And he said it wasn't pleasant is how he remembered it. But this he's happy with. Ready to do
conference early in the season against Long Beach State.
Jordan Roberts penetrates, leans in, draws the foul on Fousseyni Traore.
So like I mentioned at the start of this video, obviously BYU basketball's main goal is to win more basketball games. Our offense seems to be doing well, our defense doesn't seem to be doing as well. We figured out that committing fouls, causing more free throws is a weakness of ours. Now, I want to take that film, the analytics we've discussed, and show how it results in winning basketball if we can make those changes. And so I'm going to break down 4 games in which if we were just the country or the NCAA's average at committing fouls, or if we just played average as the opponents of these people that we're playing, then we would have won 4 more games. So the first game we'll dissect is our loss against UVU. Looks like we can see here that UVU is able to make 25 of 35 free throws. So they made 25 free throws. If we look at Basketball Reference or Sport Reference, we see that typically UVU makes 15 free throws a game. And so that's a 10-point difference. We ended up losing that game by 7. And so we can see here that if we were to not foul as much and not have UVU shoot as many free throws, then we could have potentially won that game. The second game we'll analyze is the game in Stockton against Pacific, where we lost by 3. As we can see here, Pacific goes 19 for 26 from the free throw line, so they make 19 free throws. They typically average between 12 and 13 free throws. We'll say 13 for the sake of this discussion. So 19 minus 13, that's 6, a difference of 6 points. And as we can see, we lose the game 76-73. If we held them to what they statistically usually shoot, 13, or they only make 13 free throws, then they only would have made 70 points rather than 76, and we could have won that game. And it's a super similar story just with the new team here with our game against Creighton back in December, and also with their game back in March in the WCC tournament with San Francisco, where we fouled them more than they usually get fouled, and they made more free throws than they usually make, resulting in a lot more points than they usually get. And so if we look here, BYU, they went 24-11 for the year. If we were to swing that via free throws, we could have gone 28-7, and in conference, we could have went 11-4, just with those small tweaks. Obviously, we don't know for sure if we were to make those tweaks that it'd result in wins, but it does result in winning basketball and in winning methods for basketball. Keegan, thanks again for letting me apply for this job on such short notice. See it as a great opportunity. I hope you saw value for BYU basketball and what I was able to break down with the stats, the analytics, and film, and how it can translate into winning basketball. I really do believe that'd be a perfect fit for this job. I'm willing to learn whatever it takes to contribute to BYU winning some more basketball games. But we'll talk soon. Again, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Keegan.